Well, there's a lot you can do with Canvas in HTML5, but there's even more that you can do with audio and video, which I think is really worth exploring. So let's go ahead and take a look. HTML5 native audio and video comes down to some really simple elements. Really, this is all you need to know. Audio SRC and video SRC. It's just like the image element, but for sound, right? Or for video. So in this case, let me show you just a brief demonstration of what you can do with audio and the Canvas combined together. This is an experiment that uses audio to play some audio, as well as uses Canvas to draw these circles. Now you might be wondering, well, is that all it's doing? No, actually it's doing more. It's interactive. If I go ahead and click on one of these circles, it's pulling out tweets from Twitter that mention HTML5. So each one of these circles actually represents a tweet. If you can manage to hit another one. I can't wait to learn it and use it. The iPad is, of course, encouraging lots of HTML5 development. And apparently, it's even mentioned on the Howard Stern show. How about that? Video, like I said, similarly to the audio element, has a source SRC attribute that you just assign to your video file, and then you can go ahead and play videos right there in your HTML. And this really makes it a solid alternative to Flash and QuickTime video plugins. In fact, not just an alternative, but in some cases required, because mobile platforms such as the iPhone and the iPad don't support plugins in their browser, which means if you want to play video across as many browsers and devices, you have to start supporting HTML5 video today. And I'm going to show you how. Lots of sites are already doing this. Let's take a look at some that are. The following sites, Apple's published a list of that take advantage of some of the standards. What they're really talking about here in particular, though, is the HTML5 video support. If you go to CNN, Reuters, New York Times, Vimeo, Time, ESPN, Major League Baseball apparently, Netflix, NPR, even the White House is supporting HTML5 video. If all these major institutions are supporting it, so can you. Now, the capabilities of video, once you start integrating directly with HTML, lets you do some pretty amazing things. So before I go into the code examples, I want to show you one more example of what someone can do with HTML. This is a combination of HTML5 video and HTML5 Canvas. On the left, there's a video. On the right, we're seeing use of the Canvas element to capture frames of the video and then in real time in JavaScript do edge detection and draw that. So while you see the motion animating in the video, you can see that in the frame next to it, there's the canvas that's recognizing exactly where the objects are, where their edges are, and drawing those edges out. It's pretty amazing. All of this is being done completely in the browser. HTML5 video, Canvas, and JavaScript. And you may be wondering, well, I want to get started with HTML5 video, but I don't really have any videos of my own to use, and a lot of videos out there, are proprietary, copyright, etc. So to get started learning how to use HTML5 video, I want to at least give you a pointer to some open source videos. Archive.org has plenty to choose from, and one that I recommend checking out because it does incorporate a bit of web development, web design, technology, community history, is the Barcamp San Francisco video. Even archive.org, with their embedding of these videos, notices that your browser supports the new video tag. Would you like to try the new video? So archive.org also supports HTML5. But here you can see that it's available in various different formats, such as MPEG-4. In this case, they're using a compression scheme like H.264, or even OGG video. It's not unreasonable sized downloads. So now, I'm going to go ahead and take you to a code example and show you how to program support for video. You start with just the video SRC tag. That's really it. Don't forget your close tag. In this case, I've already downloaded these videos for Barcamp SF, so I can go ahead and type in barcampsf.mp4, and I'm going to use the controls attribute to tell the browser that I want it to display video controls to control the movie. I can also create my own controls using HTML and CSS and JavaScript and script the video element. If your site has a specific look and feel, play button, you want to do your own scrubbing UI, all of that, you're free to do so. But for demonstration purposes and to get things up and running, I recommend just using the controls attribute. And as good citizens, we should always put some fallback content. In this case, we'll just say in a video showing Bar Camp San Francisco. Great. Let's save this. Let's go to the browser. And you can see that we've got a video frame. And you can see that the video plays nicely. Let's go to another browser, like Firefox, and see what that does with our video element. Uh-oh, we get a big gray X. What's going on there? Well, it turns out that not every browser supports all the same video formats. In this case, Firefox doesn't support the H.264 video format that video was recorded in the MP4 container. However, I have it in another format, OGG Theory in particular. And so if I change this source to OGV, save, go back to Firefox, reload, you can see that the video now works. Now, I showed you some of the opportunities with the video element and some of the amazing things people can do with it, but I also showed you a hint of some of the challenges, and I'm going to go into those in a little more detail. The key one here is audio and video format differences, and that is that different browsers support different formats. There isn't any one video format that's supported across all browsers that support the video element. And why is that? Well, let's take a look. WebKit and IE9 actually support H.264. This means that if you're coding for the iPad or for the iPhone or for the Android or for the Palm Pre, these all support WebKit. You can use, in fact, you have to use video that supports that's in H.264. However, here's the catch. H.264 is a proprietary format, and it's held by a consortium that has said, okay, you're free to use this, as of now, as far as we know, through the year 2015. What happens as of the year 2015? We don't know. Will they extend the ability to freely use it, or will they start charging a tax for every time you want to play, post, publish, record an H.264 video? We really can't tell. H.264 is one of the better codecs out there. It has high quality, it has high compression characteristics, it's really good for networks. So that's one of the reasons why it's so popular. However, once you start using it, you can't be sure that it'll be free to use on your site forever. So that's a bit of a challenge to consider. And this is one of the reasons that both Firefox and Opera don't have support for H.264. On the other hand, they support a format called OGG. In this case, in particular, OGG Theora. And the reason that they support it is because it's an open source format with open source libraries that are available, and that they don't have to worry about anyone coming around and charging them for use of the format. However, it's open, but with intellectual property doubts. One of the questions that's been raised by the folks that develop or that are using H.264, various browser manufacturers are like, well, we'd like to consider supporting OGG. However, we can't be sure that as soon as we ship it, someone's going to come out and say, hey, you've got some technology in there that infringes on our IP rights and be sued for it. So there are a lot of doubts, there are a lot of big debates. We're going to have to take a bit of a wait and see approach. The market is obviously still sorting itself out. So what are we going to do in the meantime? Well, fortunately, HTML5 actually presents us with a technological solution to what might be a legal problem, or at least a technological workaround to just not knowing which format we're going to be able to use in the future. And that is the source element. You can use embedded source elements inside the video and audio elements to publish different versions of the same video in different formats. Beauty of this is that then you can encode your video in H.264, also encode it in OGG, publish both. Here's how you do that in the code. You just have two source elements. Again, you want to have some fallback content. And the browser will use the first one that it knows it can handle. So if we go to the example, and in this case, instead of having a source attribute here, let's go ahead and cut that and have a source element. And then another source element. But this time, let's include the MP4 as well. Let's save that. Let's go to Firefox, reload. Looks like our video still plays. Let's try this in WebKit. And here again, we have a video that plays. So in both cases, we finally constructed a video element that works across at least the different browsers to support the video element. That's Safari and Firefox. It'll also work in Chrome and Opera. Now the only one that's left remaining here is IE. IE doesn't support audio and video elements up through version 8. In version 9, they have claimed that they're going to be supporting it, and in fact the IE9 preview does support the video element for H.264. So as you can see, it's really easy to code support for video in your HTML5. What's a little more challenging, though, is encoding for multiple formats and testing on multiple browsers. So in summary, this is what you need to know. Audio SRC, video SRC. And that works great. If you've got one video file, one format, that's all you've got to put in there. However, because of the fact that different browsers support different video formats, you probably want to encode your video at least twice in H.264 and Ogdiara, and then use the source element, source SRC, to reference both of those files, and let the browser pick whichever one it claims it can support. In addition, what you want to do is to provide at least some amount of alternate text explaining what's in the video, what's it about, describe the content, etc. If the video is particularly lengthy, or the audio for that matter, provide perhaps a textual transcript of what's said or spoken and described in the video. This is because you want to make your content as accessible as possible and make your content available to as many people as you can.